artists, we are the original alchemist. In my opinion, art is inherently spiritual because it basically is a form of alchemy. And my definition of alchemy is basically the transformation of matter, turning something unsuspecting into something magical. And when we take a mound of clay or a canvas or conjure up a song from thin air, that's literally what we're doing. Like, we're naturally alchemists, and that's also what we're doing as spiritualists and as manifestors. We're taking an idea, an intention in our head, and bringing it to life, bringing it into the physical. Is that not what we're doing when we create artwork? Is that not creating our intention, turning our intentions into something we can experience? Now, basically what I'm trying to say is, if you're an artist, and you probably are if you clicked on this video, you can do this too. You probably are already doing it. And think about all those original characters you create, or those colors that you are always drawn to, or those lyrical choices or vocal inflections, or whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you're drawn to. Could be you having a conversation with your guide. It could be spirit guiding your hand. Those could be your guides and spirituals and energies that surround you, communicating with you. Energies that walk with you, surround you, that you're tapped into, that you are on the same frequency as, can be guiding your hand when you create without you even knowing, or intentionally. I want to introduce you to Luz. She is cleansing the space. And that brings me straight into my point. She is an art piece I made, I sculpted, and I think she represents definitely a spirit guide or some type of communication. Basically, for me as an artist, how I communicate with my guides, or how I know that I'm communicating with my guides, is I have certain reoccurring motifs, visuals, characters, just energies. I'll give you some examples later that show up consistently throughout my journey, and they evolve with me as well as the things they represent. So for this, for Luz, this is actually part of a series. I sculpted a series called Old Souls, right? And I'll insert a picture, but it was a series that kind of just came to life. Each piece just kind of came out. I started with one piece. I wasn't sure what I was going to make next. They just came out, and they are meant to embody like entities that have existed long before us. So I have the sun, I have the moon, I have the ancestor, and I have Mother Earth. Now, that was originally a ceramic series, but people liked them so much that I decided to turn them into incense holders. And that is where Luz came to be. Now, I sculpted this, and originally it was going to be a yellow star, but for some reason I felt called to make her purple. And this was in a period of time where star energy was coming up a lot in my artwork. Let me give you some examples. So these are some earrings that I made called Celestial Tears. These are some other earrings that I made. They're just swirl stars. Spirals come up in my work a lot too. We have this piece I like to call the Cosmic Council. We have this piece, which I like to call her Celestial Soul Goddess. Now, these are all like space and star themes. You see a lot of like stars and eyes and spirals. She has spirals too on her cheeks. And I didn't realize this until recently, but I realized that Luz, because I made these to sell. I could not sell her for the life of me. I had to remake her into copies to sell. But I looked into the symbolic meaning of the color purple, of stars, of starseed like energy, because that's the word that kept coming up for me, is starseed. That's why her name is Luz, the starseed, light, space. and I connected it with my own energy, with being very like artistic, and I think it definitely, she has some Arcturian, you know, starseed type codes. If you know, you know. I don't know much yet, so I can't speak to it, but looking into the visual motifs that show up and reoccur in your artwork is a great way to understand what guides have already been trying to connect with you. You don't have to do anything else, just look through your work. Now I want to show you some more of the reoccurring guides that have shown up in my work. Now this next guide that shows up for me, she doesn't have particularly a name, but is a flower face being. Let me know if you have any insight on what this means. But the very first time I drew her, I'll try and find a picture. I can't find the notebook that I just found it. Haha. Okay, so what is so cool is you can watch the different art pieces evolve, because art pieces, when you make them, they reflect the state of mind you were in when you created them, the era you were in, the energies that were surrounding you, that you were tapped into, what you were going through. So it's really cool that as you revisit the same wounds or the same experiences or whatever, like growth is like a spiral, you revisit similar points in different places, the pieces evolve with you and they kind of tell a story. So when I first drew this being, this is the first time I remember drawing her, I was in a very wounded place emotionally, dealing with a lot of unhealed trauma, I guess, and insecurities. And I'm going to talk about this later, but when I partake in certain things, it can make a lot of things come out. And this, I never finished her, but let me show you her. I think the energy really comes through as to what I was going through. Basically, I got the message that I was feeding into my wounds, into my insecurities with my mindset, with my habits, that I needed to work on healing it, basically. And these wounds had to do with self-image, with how I viewed myself, self-concept, and whatnot. So I think some type of earthly guide was trying to come through when I take earthly enhancers. She comes through. I just put that together just now. So the next time that I drew her was a few years later. I think I drew that in maybe 2021. This was in 2020, I don't know, a few years later, like maybe 2022. And you can see how she evolved. It says choose peace. I think, to me, like if you look closely, she still looks a little bit troubled, which I was, but I suppose I had come quite a ways from where I was originally. You can see she's fully colored now. She's fully complete. This guide represents, like, I don't know if it's my higher self. These things are not fixed, so it could be multiple things at once. My highest self, a being, an energy I'm tapping into, like evolving, blossoming into my true self, taking my petals off of my face, growing. Hope that makes sense. This is the next time that I drew her. Mind you, this whole time I hadn't realized. This was in 2025, in the beginning of the year, around February. I did these for Black History Month because they're the poison poppies from The Wiz. But I had no idea. I have been drawing this character over and over. And this is her in her final form. I drew this just a few months ago. Yes, let me show you her. And I feel like she is in full bloom here. Just beautiful. This is one of my favorite pieces I've ever created. And I did this while also under the influence. And this is what came out. And I posted this before. Some of you may have seen her before. And I think it just represents like coming into full bloom. Her arms are up, just showing off everything. No shame, no judgment, no contorting, no performing, birthing your ideas. So it's really beautiful. So that is one guide that has reoccurred throughout my work. I'm just giving you guys some examples so you can see, spark up some ideas. She also showed up one more time in these handmade oracle cards I created. She just shows up from time to time. Now, these three I also made while partaking. Let me show you them individually. These all just came out, no plan, no sketch, went right in with my materials. And I'll talk about all of the process and stuff and the tips and things later. I'm just showing you all the examples so that you can really see and pick up on the energy that's translating. This one too. Roots. And this one, Wade. This one is very deeply ancestral to me. Do y'all know that song? It's like, it goes, wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. That's all I could hear when I made this. And they all have like different meanings. This one was made at a very different time in a different space compared to these, and I think you can really tell because when you are creating, as I said before, it's heavily influenced by who you were with when you were creating it, what mindset you were in. All of these, this one, the Cosmic Council, and these three oracle cards, I was under the influence, and I was with the same girl. I made these all with the same friend, and I think it speaks volumes about the energy of how I feel around that friend and the mindset that I get in when I'm with that friend. Yes, I think you can tell I high-key have a crush on her. Low-key, she's not gonna watch this, we're good. So this is a semi-self-portrait I made in 2022. It's called The Birth of Fairy, and that's how I came up with my stage name, Fairy. Also was partaking. A lot of these, I didn't realize how many are influenced. You know what? Anyways. This one, no partaking. The Woodland Walker. Take a look at these two. This was made in 2025, so these are a few years apart. Look how she has evolved. Isn't that insane? But I think this guide represents like truly my highest self. When I made this one, I was in a place where I was struggling to set boundaries, say no, step into my true self, own darker parts and sharper parts of myself in my story. And when I made this one, I think I had a much easier time embodying those things, and I was learning to embrace them and transmute all of my experiences. So this was also around the time where I've been taking a big leap of faith on my entrepreneurial career with my YouTube channel, my artwork, and yeah, I think, what energy do you guys get? But yeah, I'm just showing you all the examples. The physical and mental environment that you are in will impact your artwork, and that way you don't even have to try to pick up energy. We are naturally, kind of radios and sponges for this type of thing, especially as artists, so you can do it naturally. I want to show you how your environment affects your pieces too. I made this one in the forest recently. I like to call it a forest spirit. The forest looks tired, and I was in a forest. There was a lot of areas that were like fire damaged by fire, but it was very beautiful too. And this, haven't finished her yet, but she was made at a waterfall at the same place that I made my very first flower lady. And for a lot of these, like, I really wasn't consciously trying to draw them. I just started drawing and they came through. Or a lot of these, I had a very serious pull, a very clear vision in my head that I wanted to make. Signs that you are channeling your higher self, a spirit guide, or an ancestor. If you feel drawn to self-portraiture, your higher self could communicate to you that way. I've done this plenty of time with like as I showed you my portraits of me drawing myself. Reoccurring faces, themes, symbols, colors, choices. A lot of the time, I also make these blank eyes in my work. I don't know what that means, but I'm drawn to it. But just examining your portfolio with fresh eyes now that you may have put the pieces together, now that it may have clicked, that you may have been channeling or connecting with some energy, a serious pull or inclination to make a certain artistic choice, to write about a certain theme, or to include certain details to a certain color, to a certain medium. That is also a sign. Picking up tools or practices and just knowing how to do them. I had that with ceramics, and I had that with one of my favorite mediums now. They're called silky crayons. That could also be a sign that you come from a lineage of artists too, if you just naturally pick up things or naturally know how to do or draw or illustrate things without a reference picture or without instruction. I experienced that a lot. There's something called epigenetics, where basically what your ancestors went through, traumatic or just events in the past or things they were experienced, can affect how your genes are expressed. I don't know if I explained that correctly, but basically you can inherit talents and fears. Flow state, when you get in a state where you're just creating, you're not thinking about the next step, you're fully present. When I'm creating, when I'm doing art, especially when I have partaken, a lot of times that's the only time when my brain really goes quiet, when I feel fully present. And I guess partaking particularly helps in just quieting the noise within my own head and around me, and helps me get in the zone. And it makes you more sensitive to other frequencies and whatever wants to guide your hand, whatever's walking with you, whatever is around you in that moment. Feeling like you're being watched or helped while creating, that also has to do with when you pick up a medium and you just know how to do it, or you just know how to draw something, or when storylines or names or words emerge, like when you come up with your titles for your pieces or whatever. Like for me, I came up with a whole story for her. This title of this piece is called The Woodland Walker. I don't know if she has a name. I think it might be Valra, but it's hard to pronounce. But basically, when I created this, I had a whole story. Like, I just had this image in my mind that I was like, I want to create a trickster face spirit. And I had a very clear feeling about what energy she emitted. And I have a whole story about how she is like the guardian to the entrance of the woods. And she shows up when you're ready to take a leap of faith, ready to go on a journey that is going to align you with your highest good, but challenge you and force you to shed. And she's a little bit scary to me. Like, you may wonder whether she's going to hurt or help you, and the answer is yes. Like, she's going to stretch you, help you go on a very challenging but extremely rewarding journey. And I don't know where all that came from, but that's what came through for her. If you are in love with spiritual artwork as well, I have a free email list of Fairy Circle, because I also believe that when you're tapping into energies, it's not just you, you're tapping into collective energies. And I bet as we are this emerge and talk about different themes we're drawn to, we'll find connections within each other and how we draw similar things. I also do have prints of a lot of the artwork that I've shown. I will be traveling for the next month, so my incense holders and earrings won't be available for a couple of weeks, but they will be back soon if you want to follow my Etsy shop. And I also have an ebook that dives into using artwork as a spiritual tool for healing, for manifestation, and for inner work, all the inner work that you need for success as an artist, as an entrepreneur. So if you want to check that out, I would really appreciate it. It really helps me continue to create videos like this. Okay, now how you can deepen the connection, kind of strengthen this muscle. So some simple ways you can intentionally invite your guides. So as I said, tune into the environment around you. When I'm creating, when I have partaken, you can set the mood, set the intention, light some candles, or, go to a safe space in your room, whatever you want to tap into, go into the forest, okay? Whatever it is, whatever knowledge you want to get. When I want grounding, wise insight, I tend to go into nature, go into the forest, because trees are wise as heck. Trees are old. They've seen everything. I'm sounding crazy now, but if you know, you know. But grounding, wisdom, you can go into the forest. If you want introspection, tap into your higher self, you can isolate in your room. Like, get creative with it, okay? So like I showed you with the forest spirit and the waterfall lady, that was me creating in nature. But set the tune with your environment, with your mindset, okay? Doing this is basically like pulling tarot cards. You can't do it wrong. You cannot do this wrong. This is the most important thing to stress. You do this naturally, okay? Examine your portfolio, your creative pieces with new eyes now that you have this information. Consider asking a question before you create or setting an intention. I haven't really done this yet, like consciously, but I do feel like as I was going into my artwork and I already had things I was processing and dealing with in my mind, in the back of my mind, in my subconscious, that definitely came through. So you can't do this wrong. Just start creating. Trust intuitive impulses. If you have something, a clear vision in your mind, it's there for a reason. Trust it. If you don't have any vision, you just have the urge to create and it just emerges as you go throughout the process. You're doing it. Trust that. Do that. There is no wrong way. You got this. Because I just showed you my examples. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine or how I do it, because this is about how your specific energy interacts with the universe, how your specific guides interact with you, communicate with you, and how they reflect themselves through your creative practice, through your style. Wow. Now, I did focus on visual artwork in this video, but you can do this with singing, songwriting. I do this with singing and songwriting a lot, poetry, all of that. But I just focused on visual art for the purpose of this video, because I could show you actual examples. What's also important is to reflect afterward. After you create, you can look at it with fresh eyes, look at it later, put it away for a bit and come back to it, see what other messages come forth, show it to other people, see what they get from it, what interpretations and energy they get from it. That has helped me a lot when I have posted my artwork and asked, what energy do you guys get from this, on my community tab here, and you guys always drop some gems. Yeah, that's everything. That's this entire video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And if you don't know me, hello, my name is Fairy, okay? I am now your new favorite fairy god friend, fairy god guide, fairy god person, I don't know. Here to help guide first gen and BIPOC artists, creatives, and spiritualists, neurodivergent folks from marginalized communities to liberation through creativity, guiding us back to who we were before internalizing our trauma and who we will be once we learn to transmute and alchemize that trauma, okay? Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was interesting, and I'm curious, now that you have this information, if you have had any realizations about what you have been doing with your artwork, what energies you have been tapping into with your work, who you have been connecting with your work, okay? And yeah, that's all. Bye.